Joburg Theatre has been home to many historically significant plays, and its most recent was the iconic Woza Albert that showed at the Lesedi Theatre stage.
You've got 49 special. This is your car number. Those are my cars. Those are my white people.
What kind of preparation goes into that? Because I'm sure it's very intense.
Preparation starts in our dressing room. Meditation to prepare ourselves, especially when we have two shows. And then after the meditation, we should warm up, but not a hard one, because you could lose your energy at dressing room or feel like energy. So yeah, we do different warm-ups. He's got his own warm-ups. I also have mine. His feet and it's only mine. So the warm-up
and you know, I noticed, especially there were pupils in the stage today, and they had a very interesting Q&A about Woza Albert specifically. And I would like to know, what do you think Woza Albert as a production could offer young minds? Like I don't even think we could call them born freeze. They are born freeze.
They are.
No, but now they're even younger. So Ama2Ks, as you said.
Yeah, Ama2K. Yeah.
What do you think Woza Albert could offer Ama2Ks who don't really have an idea of the apartheid because they were born so much later afterwards?
It will help them know what used to happen during apartheid, because most of them don't know what happened. They don't even communicate with their parents, their grannies, because they're always stuck in their gadgets, So I'm helping the parents who could not share the message with their grandchildren. So to bring back the antidote, this is what happened, and they must make sure there's no amnesia. It's a reality, and it's the opportunity to decide whom to lead them and take this country to greener pastures. Yes. This country has potential. Yeah.
And what kind of parallels do you think Woza Albert, which is set in apartheid times, what kind of parallels and similarities can you find with the production in today's South Africa?
The parallels, they don't match, man. There's no similarity in all the parallels. During apartheid, there was law and order. Yeah. And now, during democracy, there's no law and order. And there is no racism. During apartheid, there was racism. During apartheid, black people were oppressed. During this era, people are not oppressed. They're doing as they wish. Yeah. They're vandalizing their beautiful country.
You know, Woza Albert is a classic, and it's legendary to South Africa. And a production like that is one that you would imagine you'd want to take care of and retain the integrity of the production. I'm sure you yourselves have been able to have seen the production a few times. So how do you maintain that integrity and bring your own element into the production, even though it's been played and been produced in so many ways?
Yeah, I depend entirely on the actor that I tell the story with on stage. Like I've done it with different people, Peggy Mkhwane. Before it was Mnetisi Shabango, Peggy Mkhwane, Skumba Mutaung, and I'm with Thulani Mtshweni. So the energies are different. So this one, people laughed at it like, oh my God, it just came to their faces because his offerings are beautiful. He's one of the talented actors who is underrated in the country. So this is his opportunity to tell a good story. From here, he'll be stepping high. So yeah. His energy, more than anything, the person who makes the show. I've done it for the past 15 years, but the person who makes the show currently, it's Thulani, and it's happening.
Written by theatre veterans Mbongeni Ngema, Percy Mtwa, and Barney Simon, Woza Albert unleashes memories of liberation theatre, taking audiences on an auditory and visual journey of struggles faced by South Africans during apartheid.
Dhlamini, how did you find stepping into this role newly for yourself in the production of Woza Albert?
No, it was an honor when mama. I was scared at first because of the names who have been here, who they play there. With the help of Hamilton, no man, it's not about somebody else. This is a different one, so just be you. So mama, I felt at ease after Lapo, but then it still scares me what it means Woza Albert. Yeah.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier when you were speaking to the pupils and the students that it's only taken you guys 2 weeks to prepare for such an amazing production.
Yeah.
So what kind of work goes into that? Because you also spoke about being a responsible actor.
Yeah.
So with a production like Woza Albert, there's a lot of responsibility considering the kind of thoughts and conversations you know that this kind of productions brings onto people. So what is really being a responsible actor to you?
Being responsible is doing something, normal preparing, even if no one is watching. Because these characters are something that we've seen before. Yabona abusisa babuye elokishini umkhulu okhona elokishini or even in the rurals mabamuvela ngapha. So these things we've seen before and then besisabeka la kuma archives. So when you meet such scripts and then you can go back to your library in your medulla oblongata and then choose which character fits this part and this one fits this part.
Tell me, what will you say if Morena comes to you? You want a car, not freedom.
I saw in another interview that you did about Woza Albert, where you said that, before you found that there was more unity in South Africa, during apartheid and maybe just a few years post-apartheid, and you find it sad that now in today's world, there seems to be that loss of unity. So how do you hope this production brings that unity about?
Unity at this rate esihamba ngayo as South Africa, I don't think ukuthi unity sesoyibamba ngamaqembu. So we are just hoping ukuthi sikhulume with a certain students abazoba yiqembu and be a hope for South Africa, and then they can change this country. But we cannot change South Africa yonke, but we are building small by small. Yabona labantwana laba bancane, if you can grab them, siyazi ukuthi 10 years, 5 years from now, at least kuzoba kunabantu abacabanga differently from laba bamanje.
And also, South Africans are not aware that they are fragmented. So as soon as they become aware, they will definitely unite. And I'm happy with what is happening currently in the country. Load shedding, water shedding and all that, so that people can come together and make a choice of good leaders. And just if you're not aware, you won't be aware as to, I would say, some individuals, but awareness. So it's good. All these things that are happening, it's a good thing. Because it's the people's choices. We chose the leadership. So if the leadership is messing up, yes, let's be aware with, okay, they're messing us up. Who do we choose so that we can push this country forward? I keep saying this country is the best country in the whole world. Because I've traveled almost the whole world and I've realized that other countries don't have this. So Tina, the only thing that we need to do is to remove a crime in everything. If we can win against crime, the rest is a win.
Where have you been all this time? Around and about. And how was it up there in the heavens? Oh, it's cool, man. It's cool. I'm to understand you've been learning some of our slang. Right on, bravo.
Now say, in the face of all boycott movements, why did you choose South Africa as your playing term?
So there's a very strong narrative throughout the play about the second coming of Jesus, Morena. And so what do you think, is there a metaphor behind that message? And if so, what is the metaphor?
Yeah, it is a metaphor, but we can spread it in multiple ways. It comes from our households. Each and every household during apartheid has had a face of Jesus Christ. Every time when you cried, when you were crying, you were still young, and they said Jesus Christ is watching you, without realizing that was indoctrination. So we couldn't fight the white system, though they were a minority. We were a majority, because every time we think of revolting and retaliating, we would think of Jesus Christ, that's a sin. So we prayed instead of fighting, and we put our yoke and burdens on Morena's hand, and we hoped he will do his second coming to South Africa. And he never came. We waited, and the only person who freed us was Nelson Mandela. So that's another Morena metaphor. Robert Sobukwe, Oliver Tambo, Albert Luthuli. In different phases, we've got quite a lot of struggle icons. Steve Biko, Ngoputitiro, Stanza Bopape, Kalushi Mahlangu. Those are the Morenas. The metaphor, like you say, they evolve as per era.
So if Imeya Yagangini yakwazi ukwenza ama-potholes, ifixe whatever ifixayo, that's your Morena. Because ithembaleni nilibeka la. Kahle kahle le play more than anything is a story about hope. We are all hoping for that one Morena, for Morena to come save us. We are hoping. So even namanje, we are still hoping and praying for that one leader, Ozoba, honest and serve the people.
But manje my worry, people don't want to take the forefront. They always want, like you remember the arrival of Morena. I said, speak to him. We like to sacrifice other people, and then so that we can benefit. Look at the people we sacrificed during the struggle, and look at the benefits we have. We've got Shisanyamas and Amapiano, and that's it. Is that what we fought for? We sacrificed our heroes for nothing. Or Chris Hani, Bashoneli next, and that's it. So what kind of freedom are we looking for? Maybe we should sit down before we sacrifice our lives or our leaders and say this and that and that and that. Because even these leaders haven't addressed the Freedom Charter. Freedom Charter is like a calendar, it's always on the wall, but they've never even done one thing. So as cool men, let's talk first, and so that we know what I'm prepared to sacrifice for these key points. I will stand for my people.
So, in extension of that, there are many different metaphors of what Morena is and the kind of message that you are wanting to convey to the people that are watching. One of my favorite things about theatre when I watch a production is seeing the different kinds of people that are there. There's old, there's young, and there's different backgrounds that they come from. There's different races. So, what kind of unifying message do you want for those different people? I mean, I know that you're talking now about, you're talking about how you want people to have the courage to step forward and be the change that they want to see. What other kind of message that are you hoping that Woza Albert will bring?
Woza Albert would project the relationship that we have as South Africans. There's a good relationship between Amapunu, Afrikaners, and there's a good relationship between AmaXhosa and AmaZulu and all that, which is what you've seen on stage. It's very important to realize that it doesn't matter what color you are or what language you speak. We are South Africans. The damage is done. Let's work with the kind of races that we have and make sure that they are properly documented. Those who are not documented must go home and get the right papers, but whoever is here must participate equally in order to rebuild this country.
Oh, just to add on, to the older generation, this is the reminder of what they went through. Some we should have did this like this, and then there's a group that's caught up between hard work and technology, leveling ama 80s. But Apartheid bayazi kancane, and then marabangeni technology. This is where we are, but this is where we are coming from. Basically, the young generation, ama 2000, they don't know anything. So this is it. The older ones fought for you. So you must have questions, man. Oh, this happened and this happened and this happened. It's a link here to sonke. We are trying to combine my generation with link.
You also spoke about how, with this particular production, because you're not getting the right kind of funding, you've had to cut a lot of other behind the scenes roles so that you guys could get the right kind of compensation that you deserve. So I assume that comes with a lot of stepping out of your comfort zone because you have to fill the spaces of the other roles. So how has that helped you grow in your abilities in theatre?
I've learned this from an Afrikaans producer, Rob van Vieren. Rob would take his money from his pocket and fund 15 plays and make them a gamble and tour of Grahamstown, Gaga and Ga, Art Club, and it's a tour of like 15 shows. But they're doing it nationally. It's a performance for their people. Black actors, we have a tendency, before we used to fund our own shows from our pocket. We would hike to Grahamstown National Arts Festival. We would catch trains, we would hike from trucks to make sure that we are hungry for that performance and make sure that we perform there. These days, we depend entirely on funding. That is why government has got us in the trap. They don't give us money. National Arts Council, Department of Arts and Culture, they wouldn't give a show like Woza Albert funding because it's pointing a finger at them as leaders. So you have to fork out from your pocket and make sure that its run becomes smooth and your fellow actors are comfortable, and the lady stage manager that we have, Upumeza Tamani, should be comfortable. It all comes from one producer's pocket. And it's sad, but it's a South African story. We can't keep on pointing fingers. The story must be told. The audience, you've seen, the audience is hungry and thirsty to hear about what happened during Apartheid era. And Woza Albert is addressing that. So whether we make profit or not, it doesn't matter, but a good story would have been told, and it produced lots of leaders.
And just to add on, we grew up in Lukshin since the community theatre. There we don't have stage managers and what we do everything. So okay, hey, it's another little box week as long as my props are pelele. So when you come to the professional side, that's where you realize, hey, kufuneka stage manager, kufuneka in, but because you are used to that, so if a budget yakho is tight njengamanje, you can cut so many people because certain things you are used to. So. Yeah.
And ama-lights la, if it's done kahle, thola ama-lights, ama-headlights, emoto, like Gibson Kente used to do. You'd put a wooden plank, afaka ama-headlights, and the show goes on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's challenging. But that is why the struggle continues. As got stop as in but will never stop, because if I don't tell a story, I get sick. But rage, and that's it. So I have to tell a story, whether I say tavern or wherever, but I have to tell a story. So it's a calling. It's not just a followers social thing. Yes.
Dhlamini and Mtshweni gave us their candid thoughts on the differences that they have noticed between apartheid and post-apartheid South Africa, what it means to be a responsible actor, and how theatre productions like Woza Albert influence South Africans and the unique challenges that we face.
I suppose you're a living example of what you were saying earlier, that you have to step up and do what you need to do.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So what would you like to see? What are you looking forward to seeing for Woza Albert as a production going forward?
I would like to see Woza Albert touring the world like it did during Apartheid. Dr. Mbongeningema, Percy Mtwa, and Barney Simon, they toured the world. I want this show to perform. The big plan is I want to target places like in Harlem, in the US. So I was checking out the man, mapping it out. We thought, okay, how can we do this? And I know the US dollar is 17 or 18, so we won't afford that. But I'll make a plan. I've got rich friends who can just give me some money so that we go and tell, even if it could be one performance, where people like Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, Wesley Snipes have been watching the show while they were still young. And we want to take it back to them and say, guys, you still remember Dr. Mbongeningema, Percy Mtwa, and that. And yeah, just to say, remember, yeah, they must reminisce with a peace, yeah.
And the struggles between black people and just the racial struggles between here and other parts of the world aren't very different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same thing.
For
Cotton
example,
fields.
Differences is playing here in South Africa. And if you have watched it, we are born with, we are facing similar problems, regardless of when you say Mississippi or when you say Zola. We are born. I'm a struggles with as abantu abamnyama yafa.
While Woza Albert only ran from the 1st to the 12th of March, you can look forward to more showings coming to you again in the future. For more of some of the best theatre that South Africa has to offer, visit the Joburg Theatre now.